Oh la Sandalem Italia, Sandalem Italia, Sandalem Italia, Wachike, Ferre Gianco, come fu.
Rough going wapa. Bigger entertainment, they are so.
Caution, J Smith Production.
Yeah. As you can see, it's going down tonight. Girls are getting wild and they're all looking nice. And the DJ's playing the songs we like. Party through the night, party through the night. All my ladies here tonight. Go down, down low. Go down, down, go down, down low. Go down, down, go down, down low. If you're feeling good tonight, go down, down low. Go down, down, go down, down low.
How do you feel, Mr. Rick? You have found all of Bliss, one in London, in Paris, in where else?
We are happy people.
All of them from
this for my lady.
This is my last one.
And I do this for my guys.
That's why. Can you guys see why this mission? Do you know how this mission wants to get here for Terry?
Everybody's getting low,
He gave us no context, he just rushed us down here. Terry, what do you have to say for yourself?
This is BLACKICETV7. The last obelisk, my mission is complete.
If you're feeling good tonight, go down, down low. Go down, down, go down, down low. Go down, down, go down, down low. Go down, down low. Go down, go 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 low. If you hold it and you know it and you know the fear to chop it, put your hands up. Put your hands up. And if you find and you know it and you know the fear to roll it, put your hands up. Put your hands up. All my ladies, let's go naughty. No send them shake your body. Cause we all came here to party. Cause we all came here to party. All my homies, check the body. If you like it, spend the money. Cause we all came here to party. Cause we all came here to party. Go down, down low. Go down, down, go down, down low. Go down, down, go down, down low. If you're feeling good tonight, go down, down low. Go down, down, go down, down low. Go down, down, go down, down low. Go down, down low. As you can see, it's going down tonight. Girls are getting wild and they're all looking nice. And the DJ's playing the songs we like. Party through the night.
Peace, what's going on, UK? This is KT, the Arch Degree, here with BLACKICETV7.
Yo, it's your boy Louis here with BLACKICETV7. You already know, keep it locked, it's your boy. A lot more to come in the future, so make sure you keep it locked, stay right here, don't go nowhere, this is the place to be.
Kenzie, when I'm not out here filming,
he doesn't watch it, he doesn't watch it, no, he
we watch BLACKICETV. He's lying, I watch BLACKICETV all the time.
Yo, my people, it's your boy Bandana, House of Pharaohs resident. You already know what it is. Right now, you're watching BLACKICETV7. Tune in.
What we're trying to promote is the conscious community here in the UK. We're trying to show actively all the organizations, all the entities that make up this community in the UK, and we're going to do that by gathering and taking this picture, which will show our community and be able to be used, future tense, for promotion, for advertisement, and for general informational update on the fact that there is a community, and a thriving one at that, here in the UK.
Yes, Uncle Konsu, give us something to talk about.
Yes, greetings. This is Konsu, author of Sacred Man. And, you know, I just want to say, I always say this, as people of the African diaspora, we are very successful individually. And as yet, we have not come together as a united front to do something in collaboration. So this is a prime opportunity. So once you hear this call out, tell your people and come down so that we can collaborate, network, and build together.
As this is a sacred obelisk. Now, Uncle Nico.
Hotep, greetings, shalom, salam. Peace to everybody out there. Yeah, it's very important to come out here. I'm down with anything that's to do with unifying, making history. We've got this great thing that comes from our land that's here. However it got here, it's here. We're here. Let's all come down, come together under one roof. Yeah, it's gonna be big.
This is Blacknificent. Black Activity Book launching. So 2019. Yeah, baby, a BB4. Then I'm going to say, yeah, baby. Yeah, BB2 minutes back. BB2 minutes and BB4. Yeah, just say. A BB4, you found in 2 minutes. I was here a couple of years I've been pro, Black Power. That's the Black Activity Book 2019. Powerful one. This is Blacknificent. On October 5th, which is the spiritual positive number. And you don't need to miss out. Wherever you are, make sure you get to this vibration. Every to me. Love you all.
Terry Mr. Riggs, and I'm the UK tour guide to the rest of the world, and I do demonstrations of understanding our history and how do we move forward. Take it from the past and bring it to the future.
Against all the wrongs for my leaders that's gone. All my leaders that's gone. Although they did you so wrong, I still standing here strong. Against all the wrongs. Imagine if Malcolm would've never got killed. Crack in the hallways would've never got filled.
We are here outside the office, UNIA, understanding that our history and demonstrations of what we understand about Marcus Garvey and his philosophy and becoming his philosophy and able to pushing this forward. He had his new newspaper business, he had his collaborations, and he actually died in London. I'm here with my brother here right now.
My name is Mukoko. I'm an artist from Congo. Spiritual mind. I'm just coming here to learn more about the story about Marcus Garvey.
This what we facing, stuck in a world that's gone cold, with no feeling of control. As we wonder what it is and we wonder what it was.
This is the history of Marcus Garvey. This park was built in his name, and you know it's about growth and growing. A Pan-African philosophy to inspire the global mass movement. He lived in the borough from 1933 to 1940.
Against all the wrongs for my leaders as gone. All my leaders as gone.
Story about black people. Black people was in a lot of places in Europe, in Africa, and everything. So I try just to make the story in my fashion and in my music.
What it's about is you understand the legacy, understanding the length of what he had done and able to influence people in many different ways. We need to understand our history. We need to see what mistakes we did and how we can be able to upgrade ourselves from that history. Our ancestors laid the way for us. Black people have always been here. Musicians have always been here, and seeing the artists, we understand that this has been influenced from our past and our history. They're in all over different types of museums within the vicinity of London, UK and worldwide. Your creativity is what feeds you. During and before and after slavery, there were people, free African people within the community. It's Francis Williams. Someone that looks respected. Look right in the middle. This was done in a period of time of a reflection of how they saw people at that time. One of the main guys that helped to abolish slavery, which is the 16th, the Moor, at that time of the 1500s, which this artwork was done. In the proceedings of looking at the hat, you can understand kind of the fez kind of hats that they wore, the jewelry that they wore on the chain, the earrings were pierced back then, and understanding the full length of look. And one thing is, he wasn't in chains. It makes you think this is the book of the Duke of Florence, who was half Medici and half African. Look at the silks. This is what the kind of things that we wore in our kingdom. What we was making our materials, it just shows you the extent of wealth. Now you can see 1, 2, 3. What's going to be happening on the 3rd and the 4th of August, which is the Black History Weekender. Loads of history which you have seen and demonstrated on this video in explaining why it's paramount for us to teach and learn our history, and for us to unite as an African diaspora with the African people on land, and understanding that we need to take our history and bring it into the forefront of understanding for our youth, creating our legacy. I brought in my brother to see what he could receive on the day of the 3rd and 4th of August.
It was a beautiful journey today to see and to learn more and to know more about our history. So the event will be in August?
Yeah, it'll be in August on the 3rd and the 4th.
Just come and see and
enjoy and come to get into the formalities of the experience of being a tourist once again. Because it's in August, you should bring your children, bring your family, and bring everyone to get engaged with it, and let's become one unit once again.
Or if you want to follow me, go to website Nkoko Official. And about fashion, it's Coco Ornament. So it's all about clothing and everything.
If you're lucky, you might get him to sing or perform for you when he releases his new music at the time of the event. This is Terry Riggs, Mr. Riggs, New Beginnings, Black Ice TV, the one and only station. Check it out on YouTube.
Against all the wrongs for my leaders as gone. All my leaders as gone. Although they did you so wrong, I still standing here strong.
Dear black people, come out tomorrow and Saturday. It's going down. You won't regret it. If you regret it, we'll give you your money back. But you're gonna love it. You will love it, love it, love it. So make sure you come out. All right.
See it there. Right from his mouth. Boyce Watkins, ASAP. Be there, be sharp, be early.
My name's Kenya Oganambi, one of the co-founders, directors of Black Academy. And when I'm not doing Black Academy sessions down there in Latimer Road, every single Saturday between 11 and 2, I'm tuning out to Black Ice TV, the only channel that shows our people in a positive, uplifting and inspirational light. Make sure you check out Black Ice TV.
Watching Black Ice TV.
Family, this is from Galaxy Radio, and I watch, I listen, I observe Black Ice all the time.
There's a lot of stuff upstairs too, and then as you know, or probably know, there's a whole nother African section, mostly from Central Africa and Nigeria. And I always find it more than it rhymes, but insulting that Africa is traditionally separated from the Nile Valley in these museums. And these curators don't seem interested in changing that one single bit. So I guess we could say pressure needs to be brought to bear on them, but it would also be wonderful if Africans had their own institutions, their own museums, and we could structure it the way we like. At any rate, today we're going to focus on the Nile Valley, and especially Kemet. Now, Kemet, for me, is a specific term, KMT, that is used to talk about a certain phase in ancient Egyptian history. So you have the pre-dynastic period, and then you have the dynastic period, and then you have what's called the Ptolemaic period, and then you have the Roman period, and then you have the Byzantine period, and then you have the Arab period, and then you have modern Egypt. For me, when I talk about Kemet, I'm basically talking about the pre-dynastic phase in Egypt until around 300 BC. So let me give you an overview of that. Now the core, the most important word that I'm going to use, can everybody hear me? Yeah. The most important word is dynasty. Around during what's called the Ptolemaic period. And the Ptolemaic period begins in 304 BC. Now the pre-dynastic period stretches so far back into the ancient past that it's almost impossible today. We don't know really when pre-dynastic Egypt begins, but the dynastic period itself begins about 5,300 years ago. And that date is even controversial. Some people would extend it back farther. Some people think it's a little shorter than that. But you had a dynastic period, which I'm going to talk about, but at the end of the dynasties, of which there were 30, you have the invasion of Egypt by Alexander the Greek, who was looked upon as a kind of a liberator, because up to that point, Egypt for hundreds of years had been dominated by the Persians, and the Persians were very harsh in Egypt. They took a lot of monuments. I would think a lot of those pieces are in Iran today. They took a lot of monuments. They were difficult for the priesthood. They were harsh on the people of Kemet. And so Alexander the Greek comes in 322, but he doesn't stay. In fact, Alexander dies in 323. It's interesting that he began the construction of his largest and greatest city, Alexandria, in Africa. Not Egypt, I'm sorry, not Europe, but Africa itself. And Alexander asked if he would be bestowed the title of King of Upper and Lower Egypt. Alexander, in fact, from a Greek perspective, had a lot of respect for Kemet. I think the Greeks in general at that time saw Kemet, saw the Nile Valley as a very esteemed place. There was no reason to think otherwise. This idea of African degradation and African impoverishment had materialized at that time. In fact, most of us believe that Alexander was actually buried in Africa, buried somewhere in Kemet. Now, he dies in 323. And then, once he dies, the empire is split up. And a person named Ptolemy takes over the parts of the empire that included Egypt. So in 304 BC, Ptolemy is crowned king of Upper and Lower Egypt, king of Upper and Lower Kemet. The Greeks didn't really know a lot about the history of Egypt. So towards the end of his reign, and the beginning of the reign of a man named Ptolemy, who came to be known as Ptolemy II, they got the greatest African scholar they could find, a man named Manetho, to write a history of Kemet. And Manetho the African is the person that broke Kemet down, Kemetic history, into the dynastic framework. Now, a dynasty is a family of rulers, one member of the family coming after the other for an extended period of time. I repeat, it's very important. A dynasty is a family of rulers, one member of the family coming after the other for an extended period. A dynasty is a royal house, and at the head of every African dynasty was a woman. Important to know that, because it says a lot about the stature of women in Kemet, the stature of women in ancient Africa. The line of descent is traced to the female side of the family. You have a matrilineal line of descent, and women rise to very high positions. Now, traditionally, it was the male who was the king, but every now and then you have a woman who filled that vacuum, who filled that void. But women are always very important. You never in the history of Kemet find evidence of sexual assault. Domestic violence is relatively unheard of. There's no rape. There's no child abuse that's documented. They didn't use the B word back then, or the N word either for that matter. And I think that these things are very important. I think that when you elevate women, especially black women, you elevate all of us. And that's what the historical records tell us. So the Egyptians themselves, Kemites, seem to have come largely from Upper Egypt, from the south. It's also very important to know that the orientation for Egypt was southern, it was always inter-African. Several years ago, I went to Uganda for the first time, and I met some Ugandan scholars. Uganda is in the center of Africa, the Great Lakes region. And one of them really kind of chastised me. He says, why are you African Americans so obsessed with Egypt? Why don't you come to Central Africa, which is where Egypt began? He said, it's like you're opening up a book in the middle instead of the first page. And so the orientation is Southern African or Inter-African. Dr. Ben, who just died, used to talk about a papyrus called the Papyrus of Nefer, where he claimed the Egyptians said, we came from the foothills of the mountain of the moon where God happy dwells. This is Central Africa. And they moved up along the Nile, and along the Nile, great and mighty cities developed. Egypt is the gift of the Nile, according to Herodotus, but the Nile is the gift of Africa. And you have different kingdoms in the Nile Valley. You have Ta-Seti, which means the land of the bow, which is the first historical kingdom. You have Cush, you have Meroe, you have Napata, you have, of course, we use the word Nubia a lot. The word Ethiopia comes into being. Ethiopia means, it's a Greek word, which means the land of the burnt-faced people, the land of the black people. But the most spectacular of the kingdoms of the Nile was Kemet. Kemet means the black city or the black community. A lot of people used to translate it as the black land, but they would say it had nothing to do with the people. We call it the black land because the soil was very dark. Well, people like Theophilo Benga and other linguists who read the language are now translating it to mean the black city or the black community. And they distinguish themselves as black people. We should be very, very clear on that. Some people like to make the argument that the use of the term black is relatively new. It's not. It goes far back into antiquity. So I use the word black as a descriptive term for the people of Africa. Now, you have a long period of development, which we call the pre-dynastic phase, but the dynastic period begins around 3200 BC with the rise of a black family from the southern part of Kemet, what we call Upper Kemet or Upper Egypt. They come forth and they conquer the northern part. And they merged the northern kingdom of Kemet, Lower Egypt, or Lower Kemet, with the southern kingdom, and this begins the dynastic phase. So this is the first dynasty, about 3200, 3300 BC. And the first king, a little mysterious about his name. Some people call him Narmer, other people call him Aha, Aha Menes, Aha Mina. The Greek name is Menes, and he's the first king. Then you have a second ruler. He reigns for a long time, according to Manetho, who broke it down into this dynastic framework. And you can find that book, by the way, at least fragments of Manetho. I have a copy of it. If you dig, you can find that book. So Ahamena reigns for about 40, 50 years. Okay. And then he has a successor. And then you have a woman named Mernite, M-E-R-N-E-I-T, who appears to have been a pharaoh herself. So this is the first woman that we know of who was actually a pharaoh, the equivalent of a king. She's not the first important woman in Egypt. You have a person who marries Narmer, a Menes named Night Hotep. And so this is the first time we find a woman's name in history. So the first two dynasties, the Africans were just kind of getting it together. The form of government, the language, the religious structure, religious and political beliefs. This is called the Archaic period. These are dynasties 1 and 2. In dynasty 2, you have the most important figure named Kasekimai. And Kasekimai is interesting because he's described as physically very large, about 7 feet tall, kind of like the Maasai or people like that. And also, he's the first person in the world that we know of to commission a navy. They found a fleet of 12 to 18 wooden ships preserved under the sand near a city called Abydos, which is about 280 miles south of Kenya. So dynasties 1, dynasties 2, archaic period, getting it together. And then dynasties 3 through 6, this is what traditional Egyptologists call the Old Kingdom, or what some of us call the first golden age. And it's also the Pyramid Age. And in Dynasty 3, the leading figure, the leading king, is King Djoser or Zoser. In fact, I'm not sure if there are any representations of Zoser in there. But the person who worked under him, everybody knows, and that's Imhotep. In fact, let me just show you this photograph if I can find it right quick. This is in the Louvre, and this is Imhotep's mother. One of the most important pictures I've ever photographed. This is the mother. Her name is Kredonk. Kredonk. Kredounkh. Kredonk. I may not be pronouncing correctly, but that's the spell. And Imhotep is important to us because he's the first scientist in the world. He's described as a multi-genius. He is a man of many talents, and a lot of things about him are probably legendary. He was so significant that stories about him grew as the dynasties waned. So 2,000 years after his death, he's kind of deified as a god of writing. And the Greeks identified him with their own god of medicine, who they called Asclepius. Imhotep is also important because he designed the world's first large stone building that we know of, which is called the Step Pyramid, which is a tomb for Zoser. And we know this because we found the tomb chamber. The tomb chamber has been found. Interestingly enough, Imhotep's tomb has never been found. Nobody knows where he was buried. Some people speculate that he's actually buried underneath the Step Pyramid, which I don't know how that could be. And the images of Imhotep that we find are very small, little statuettes. I suspect that they're very recent, 2,700 years ago, and they were put in tombs. Now, the third dynasty, which only lasts about 80 years, gives way to the fourth dynasty. And the fourth dynasty is the Big Pyramid Age. And this is when the pyramid...
We want to give thanks to BLACKICETV7 when I'm in the UK. It's always an honor to come on BLACKICETV7.
Dynasty. During this period of time, you have the introduction of the world's first known religious literature, which is called the Pyramid Text. And this was literature inscribed inside the tomb chamber of the pyramids. This later gives way, during that period, to what are called the coffin texts. And in this case, the religious literature would have been inscribed inside the coffin. Finally, by the 18th dynasty, you have a new form of religious literature, and that is called the Book of the Dead, which is a term probably introduced by the British. The Africans would have used names like the Book of Coming Forth by Day, or the Book of Gates, or the Book of Coming Forth by Day and by Night. They call it the Book of the Dead because there are papyrus scrolls found inside the tombs. But this is the first religious literature that we know of. So all of these pieces are from the period age. As you can see behind the hairstyle, somebody knew it named Amenhotep. And the root of the word is Amen, which means Amen is foremost, Amen is up front, Amenhotep, Amenhotep, very, very similar. And so the name Amen is introduced. And again, we think that that's where the expression comes from in the Judeo-Christian tradition. Over here, behind you, and there, and here, is one of the most powerful men that ever lived. And his name is Senusret III. He is a great militarist. He reigned for 38 years. By tradition, he conquered all the way from the Nile Valley to the Caucasus Mountains. And he conquered deep in Africa. And almost all of the images, now look, compare. There's Amenhotep III looking very serene, at ease, confident. But the images of this particular king always make him look very stern, very, very rigid. So perhaps that's just a style of art at the time, or maybe that was just the way he saw the world. That's the crown from the south, that's a Uraeus, and that's pink granite, but it doesn't have the same polished sheen as that one has. And then here is something else we can point out, what he's wearing on top of his head. That's another kind of headgear, and that's called a Nemes cloth. N-E-M-E-S. A Nemes cloth was a light piece of cotton cloth used to protect the king from the rays of the sun. And that's also something that you only see the king wearing. Even now, Egypt grows probably the best grade of cotton in the world. And I like to joke with people, Egypt also probably grows the best watermelons in the world. It's sweet and juicy. And I'm a watermelon man. And again, you can see on top the beautiful, deeply inscribed glyphs. Now, what you see on the top over there is what I'm wearing right now. And this is an ankh. And this is a little cheap one because I lose them all the time. This is probably the thing that I identify with the most. This and my bronze little bracelet, my brass bracelet right here. But the ankh is very important symbolically. The ankh is the key of life. And this is a symbol of male and female union. As you can see, I guess the uterus and the penis, and it's
people don't love us. I tell you, if we speak, ain't nobody gonna touch us. Rosa kept the seat, wasn't waiting for another. I'm thumbing on these beats, cause this music I got love for. I be on the block, coppers wanna cover. Shout outs to my pops, shout out to my mother. We all we got. Just us, I'm coming from the streets, ain't no peace, ain't no justice. I'm part of this world where you never been. I learned the real life at the age of 10. Now I'm 25, you could do the math. Free my real niggas stuck up in the pen.
Together, and we bless each other with our wisdom, knowing that each one of us can make a mighty difference. So as we heal ourselves, we in fact heal all our relations. Thank you, Most High. Thank you to Anto.
Greetings, sacred greetings. My name is Sacred Woman Zakia. And I'm so honored to be a part of this auspicious occasion of overcoming, right? And if your womb could speak, what would she say? I know my womb is in a happy space, and I'm so grateful to Queen Afua, who is my master teacher, a second mother to me. So powerful, healer, mother, just womb practitioner. She's so divine, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this community of the Sacred Woman Village. And so what I have in front of you is actually Cherish. Cherish is the best alternative to sanitary napkins. It is actually helping women to heal their wombs with our negative ion strip. Negative ions are the minerals of the earth and the vitamins of the air. Negative ions help to relax the uterus, right? So no longer are we going to be feeling cramped up and feeling like we're having mood swings, because negative ions also help to balance the pH. This is also a soft cotton material. It feels completely like satin. Cherish is the way, okay? You see it on my shirt here. And what it is that we are going to make the other products in stores obsolete, because the ones in stores, many of them have very harmful chemicals, bleach and dyes and other things like that that are causing myself and other women to suffer in silence with things like fibroids and cysts and cancers. And our women that look like myself and you, we are the leading cases in hysterectomies. They are performed over 600,000 hysterectomies just last year alone. So please reach out to me. My name is Sacred Woman Zakia. This is Cherish, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. You can find me on www.getcherishtoday.net or on Facebook, Zakia Taliba Kafensi. Have a wonderful day and be blessed. Oh, pick up? Oh, so bigging up Black Ice TV, the hottest network and station around. Blessed love.
dog. Nah, you don't wanna see that in a spark. I'll make you me a love.
Doing ancestral essence. I'm watching Black Eyes TV.
When I'm not watching HMP TV, I'm watching Soapbox. If I'm not watching Soapbox, I'm watching G-Day TV. If I'm not watching none of those, guaranteed I'm watching Black Eyes TV. As long as it's black, as long as it's us, I'll be watching. SLR, I watch Black Eyes TV.
Life savings on my forecourt. Bitches wearing short shorts. Brownings and all sorts.
Peace, 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 family, peace. We out here, man. Central Park with the Black Ice TV. Shout out. You know, God Rob Born here. Building with my brother Terry, you know.
Yep.
Connection.
Yep.
It's here. It's here. Yeah. Sending you pseudos on the run. And you know, we just building, man. We just out here giving, you know, just building.
Okay. You know, this Central Parks, right? I just want you to give us a bit of history on what this Central Parks is about.
Central Park, from a long time ago, this was a place where certain Native Americans used to be, or the people called the Lenape people, etc. What's interesting is like what we standing right now in front of Cleopatra's Needle, right here. They stole the black people stuff and put it there. So if you don't have to read it, I'll just tell you what it says. It's erected 1600 BC. Alexander the Great took it 12 BC. And, you know, it made its way around here. They have their little transliteration there, but, you know, they don't have it in the museum. And the big museum is right across there. Right across the street from us, right here. I don't know why they have it out here, but it's out here. In the cold, getting weathered. Another part of Central Park is there's a part in this park called Seneca Village where you had hundreds of Africans who used to live, and they owned most of this big, gigantic park here. And, you know, that's like a brief thing. I'd rather us had seen it, but this is what it is there, because we stopped right here.
Yeah. So basically, we're out here in New York, USA link up with the UK. I'm out here trying to help as much people as possible. We've got this Sign Letter Awards coming on the 7th of July, and we're asking a lot of people to come out, as it's the GoFundMe UK USA link up. If you just check in the inbox or the biography of this video, you will see the information. So click on, see if you can donate or help us to get over there, as we've got 4 medias. Which one is Titans TV, the other one is Black Eyes TV, the third one is HMP TV, and then the fourth one is the Contents Over Everything. But today we're in New York and we're talking to Rawborn, and I'm just looking at how comes he's wearing yellow and black, and that's a big question because everyone's asking, what is that about?
Well, the yellow and black is just, I put these on because they match my shirt.
Yeah.
That's why it's on today. But the yellow and black, you see the universal flag right here. This is the universal flag of the Nation of Gods and Earths. It was constructed by a 16-year-old named Universal Sham God. And it was presented to the founder of the Nation of Gods and Earths, and he accepted it. And it basically represents man, woman, and child. So the 7, there's 22 points on this flag if you look at it, going across. They all mean something, so I'll just give brief. There's 22 points on here, all right? 7 on the 7, 2 on the moon, and 5 on the star. The 7 points supposed to represent the 7 planes of energy, which are mental, physical, emotional, will, control, realization, and infinity. The 2 points on the moon stand for being born twice. It also represents the equality of the woman, which is the earth and the moon. The 5 points on the star represent knowledge, wisdom, understanding, justice, and equality, and it represents the star. The 7 is supposed to represent the black man. The moon is supposed to represent the woman, and the star is supposed to be the best part of both of them. So in this turn, the 7 is supposed to be a son. or symbolic to the sun, that reflects his light on his woman and brings forth life mentally or through her physically. The 2 points on the moon show the equality of the woman, a moon and an earth. A moon is a woman who doesn't have knowledge of self, but she could bring forth life, or she's mentally dead, as we would say. A earth could bring forth complete light and sustain life, and that's how we say is the woman. These 8 points on this thing represent our 120 lessons, which are supreme mathematics, alphabets, 1 to 10, 1 to 36, 1 to 14, solar facts, and actual facts. The circle is a cipher that represents the whole. And these points are at different degrees, on 45 degrees and 90 degrees. So the 4 long represent to destroy all negativity within the 4 corners of the planet Earth. So, in its nutshell, that's what that is about.
Okay, and let's just go straight to that point of what we was talking about, the importance of the Sinetta Awards and what MBK represents. And as we know, he's been nominated, and we're asking people to get the opportunity to go to the SinettaAwards.com and vote for MBK and see if we can get the numbers up so he can get that award. But I want you to kind of break down the MBK and how vital that, how can I explain it, how vital these awards of us able to network from across the waters in the US.
So you said you might know about what MBK is about?
Yeah.
MBK stands for New Black Knowledge. It's like 4 or 5 of us, True Historian, our brother Sanev, Dark Warrior. We have some young people we grooming, Sister Africa, and there's some other people involved. But MBK is about new black knowledge. Nothing is new, and black is a color, and knowledge is infinite. All right? So the information that we're providing is filling the gap. And the gap that we see in the conscious community is keeping things in a loop, in a hole, like in like a circle, where we're trapped in BC history and not looking at the history that's right here, what we did to free ourselves and how we could link with our direct ancestors. So what we strive to do at MK is produce that specific knowledge that is lost, and it's easy to obtain because we have the archives. The Sinetta Awards is good for, I would say, for people to meet up that have like minds, and especially people that are from different countries, as the brother is from a different continent actually, and that's a form of Pan-Africanism. Even though he's not in Africa, he is of African descent, and when you deal with trade and commerce to that point, that is a representation of something that we speak about.
All right. So, as we're outside this obelisk, and I'm trying to find a way of giving the people an understanding, because America is built up on a lot of things, and I've always believed in following the trade routes. I want you to just give some form of information, like especially to the people out there, especially on what the dynamics of what's happening today in information, how people are dismissing information. Like, give an example. Abo. But yeah, your takes on that.
On how people misusing information
Yeah.
or guiding people?
Yeah, in guiding people.
The wave of the internet has been good and bad, meaning that we could get information very fast and at the click of a finger. What makes this bad is you didn't really see too much of this because you would have to read, and a lot of people wasn't reading. So now someone could just pop something up, grab it, don't check the source, and just start pushing it, or grab pictures that they never would have saw before without reading the books or going to the libraries or actually traveling to these places to see their books and make these connections. The Aboriginal movement, I don't want to call it a movement. I just think that it's another group of people who are suffering the identity crisis. And the identity crisis is us trying to figure out who we are. In every culture in America or here as far as black people, it was always a culture that was brought forth to try to help change us, and it always had something to, not always, but the big ones had something to do with religion in a certain aspect, or they had a certain way of looking at things, meaning even though it might not be a religious movement, they bear witness to that Bible. They bear witness to the Abrahamic faiths. They bear witness to these specific things. So when looking at it here, when you deal with this Aboriginal movement, they don't teach nothing of the indigenous cultures. You have to pay attention to this very closely. They don't talk about their cosmologies. They don't talk about no rites. They don't talk about no rituals or anything else that connect to the native people or tribes that are here. All they tell you is, I'm not African, fuck Africa. The slave trade never happened. So these people are suffering because they don't want to be attached to slavery. What they don't understand, as we constantly show that we weren't always slaves. The first people that were brought here, they were indentured servants. They had their own land. They was building. And we fought every step of the way. And we went over this yesterday. I went to the African burial ground to show the free blacks here in the 1600s.
Which we might go there later on, which you might get the information a bit later.
Yeah, so, and then we looked at the unmistakable things that are from West Africa found in those graves. And then we looked at the revolutions or the stuff that was happening here in the 1712, like Peter the Doctor, the Conjurer, and all of the stuff that they was doing. So that's not taught in school. It's not taught about, we're not taught the organizations that we built in the 1700s, 1800s to try to help our people collectively that was in our community, like the New York African Society, right? Or that transformed to the New York African Society of Mutual Aid and Relief. And they don't teach you that, because what it's gonna do is gonna show you like, wait a minute, these guys were building without us. Through us putting our foot on their people's neck, they was able to build. And the things you see now, as far as beeping about religion, yeah, people had debate, but it wasn't like this. So what New Black Knowledge is about is bridging that gap and the fresh air to the people, man.
Yeah. I'm going to cut this a bit short, but I want you to able to big up to the people in London, because these are the guys that we're trying to bring over.
It's necessary for us to build, man. We have the same descent. We live in different places at a different time, but we share our same struggle.
All right, this is Black Eyes TV, over and out. Hope you enjoyed the information, and we're gonna have a bit more. And this is the third day of the UK-USA link up. Now I'm gonna get as much people to combine together to network, because this is a movement. You have an MBK movement, you have a Black Eyes TV movement, you have a Titans movement, you have a Contents Over Every movement, and we have in the Speaker's Corner what we call Gang Unite. Guiding
the boy really dog. Nah, you don't wanna see that in a spot. I'll make you meet a law. General Gaddafi, mind of a killer, but my body like an athlete. Okay. Cocaine drops, got me following a taxi.
Wellness Salute, Supernova Sound by Medicine Man. So the Super Mega Greens is a great wellness supplement to take pre and post workout. All you gotta do is grab a scoop, put in some water, some fruit juice, shake it and go. It's a great convenience for cell building, fresh oxygen to the cells. So when you're pre-working out, that extra pump, extra oxygen to the bloodstream from the plant proteins to get you amazing magnetism and the boost in the gym. Post-workout, it's a great recovery meal. Great for cell replenishing and rejuvenation. The Mega Greens has holistic, organic supplements, wheatgrass, spirulina, dandelion, alfalfa, chlorella, and ginger. Those working in tandem together creates an amazing, exuberant, extraordinary matrix of power, endurance, clarity, and fortification for your cells, your bones, your kidneys, your organs, your brain waves to be electromagnetic in everything and all that you do. Super mega green, super fools. We're electrified. Wellness salute, spin over song, hip hop medicine man. Check it, check it, check it, check it, check it. Black Ice TV, Black Ice TV. It's a place to go for all your awesome, magnificent products in the African, Pan-African diaspora. Make sure you log on to Black Ice TV. Black Ice Stores is the place for you to go to download and to be in tune with all of our products. Family wellness salute. Rah! That's my number. And so for me, before this social community, I was already in it. My family. So I have a different way. I've been in it long enough to see when I was a my young crowd. I was doing that when I was 15, 16. So I had no internet, you feel me? So I can see, I have a humble place for all my brothers. That's why I don't really judge them. I can look at them objectively and understand that.
Black families, the Prince of Pan-Africanism, Dr. Umar Johnson. We live and direct. I want to give a shout out to Black Ice TV.
Black Ice TV7. Make sure you log in.
It's part of what we call the Black Ice TV family.
That is Black Ice TV7, and make sure you subscribe. Hit the button. Peace.
Shout out to Black Ice TV.
People, it's your boy Bandana, House of Pharaoh President. You already know what it is. Right now you're watching Black Ice TV7. Tune in.
They try to take our brain and keep our raw gifts, but we still remaining, now we bullshit. Flawless, you know how it goes.
Forgive our own stuff, we gonna do it ourselves.
We stand by the hour, yeah, we let it grow. These crackers not doing nothing, we let them know. Now!
See, the most painful thing in the world is to change. See, I've been the way I am